All right, first ever oyster.
But when you get closer up, it has a quite an apparent, I'll say, aubergine eggplant. So this is a two-person portion just kind of put together. So Sean and I can Bonjour, bienvenue à Nice, France.
If you guys are new around here, I'm Sean.
And I'm Aleesha, and we're two Canadians that live in England but get to travel around Europe.
So come along with us as we spend the next 4 days enjoying the beautiful French Riviera. So we got in super late last night. Our flight got in at like 10 o'clock, so we basically just went to the hostel and checked in and went to bed.
So today is our first time actually getting to see Nice, so glad that you get to come with us. And the first thing we're doing is actually a food tour.
Yeah, so we booked this experience through Airbnb. We'll leave the link down in the description below, but it also includes wine, which I'm looking forward to.
And this is how we started our trip in Paris. So first thing we did was a food tour, which seems a bit odd, but not only do we get to eat and explore some of the local stuff, we also get to kind of get our footing a little bit. Most people do a walking tour, so it's kind of like a walking tour, but you get food too.
Yeah, best of both worlds. So let's go check that out. After an espresso and a glass of rosé to start the day off right, we headed up to a local market where our guide Ali collected a selection of local meats and cheeses for us to try. Our next stop was a seafood market where we tried oysters for the first time and last. All right, first ever oyster. Cheers.
What do you think?
Slimy.
Slimy? Tastes like the sea?
Sure does.
You're not a fan?
No.
No? But you tried it and that's what counts. There we go.
Thankfully, we weren't stuck with the taste of oyster for long as we stopped for more charcuterie, some amazing stuffed vegetables, and of course, more rosé before capping off our day with some gelato.
So we just finished our food tour and now we're back at the hostel. But the tour was supposed to be 4 hours and it ended up being 5 hours and I'm absolutely full. What about you?
Yeah, I'm stuffed. So for our last two stops, we stopped at this little olive oil shop owned by this Italian man named Filippo. It was really awesome. We got to kind of like learn a little bit about the history of his farm, which is they've had for like 6 generations. Tried some of the products. I bought a little truffle salt thing, which was so good. I can't wait to try it in some of our cooking. And then we of course finished off with some gelato.
Because how could we not? So one of the coolest things about this tour, besides the fact that it was probably the most authentic any sort of tour we've ever done, was our host.
So Ali is from Canada and funny enough actually went to university in the same town I grew up in, which was so crazy.
And so a lot of the tour was her just kind of chatting about Canada and saying like, oh, do you remember this place? And it was just like, I don't know, it's such a unique experience that we don't often get to have both in England and traveling abroad.
Yeah, so it was just such an amazing experience. Can't recommend it enough. Like I mentioned earlier, we have linked it below. So if you're in Nice, definitely check out Ali's tour.
Unfortunately, the food tour, something on it didn't agree with someone. It's me, I'm someone. So we had to spend a lot of the afternoon just in the hostel so I could recover.
Yeah. Thankfully, Aleesha's feeling better that we decided to come down and watch the sunset, and it's absolutely gorgeous. This place is so beautiful.
And it's the first time we've got to see the water, so hopefully tomorrow we get to see more and do more of the stuff we originally had planned.
Yeah, so check back in tomorrow.
Good morning and welcome back to day 2 in Nice, but day 3 of our trip. Yesterday we spent the day exploring Menton and Monaco, so there's a whole other video for that, so go check it out. But I wanted to just give you a little bit of insight about this really cool statue fountain behind me. We were told this in our walking tour 2 days ago, and if it's not true, well then our food tour guide just kind of lied to us, but I want to tell you a story. So basically they wanted a statue of Apollo with his chariot. As you can see, there is no chariot, but when you get closer up, it has a quite an apparent, I'll say, aubergine eggplant. And I guess when the statue was erected, no pun intended, when the statue was erected, the city kind of got mad for his presence, for the size of it. So if we're using eggplant, for example, basically they asked the artist to come back and only use half of the eggplant in the recipe. So some of it got chopped off, stored away. City was still not happy about it, and the statue actually was taken down for 30 years. It's back up now, and I guess half of his glory, and it's kind of cool to see, but I can also understand the protests a little bit. So the first thing we had to do this morning was stop to get some wine. So we went to this place on our food tour, and the problem with doing a food tour on the first day, which is actually a benefit for us, is that we kind of just go back to some of the places. So we had some wine there the other day, and they're open very minimally. And Ali, our host, is telling us this really interesting story about how this place has been here for ages, and they actually used to serve for about 100 years wine on tap. So when you go to a pub, you just get the beer on tap, but you can do it with wine here. Not anymore. Unfortunately, they had to stop after 100 years because of COVID, but they still have really great wine. So we got a bottle of rosé, a different rosé than we tried the other day. So I'm sure it's gonna be amazing. But yeah, apparently it's one of the best wine places in all of Nice.
Alright guys, so we're just continuing our wander through the old town here, and we did stumble on the Nice Cathedral. So that's the main cathedral here in the heart of the old town. Very beautiful inside, definitely go in and take a look. They also have a nice little kind of memorial right now to Ukraine with, you know, everything that's going on with Russia and Ukraine. So just a nice little memorial in there as well.
We decided to get some traditional Socca as just something quick and easy to have for lunch. So this is a two-person portion just kind of put together, so Shauna and I can just... I'm trying really hard to tell you guys about our Socca and how good it is, but as you'll see, we're fine. There was no any sort of attack on the city. Every day at 12 o'clock they set off a cannon, and we have not been paying attention to our phones or what time it is at all, so I didn't realize what was happening, and that was actually the first time I got to hear it. So now you know, be prepared for a 12 o'clock cannon every day, and you got to see, I guess, my genuine reaction to being a little bit caught off guard by one. So what I wanted to say about our food is that this is a two-person portion, and Shauna and I just get to kind of pick at it. And basically what Socca is, it's chickpea flour with olive oil, a bunch of water, and then when it's cooked, it's just sprinkled with pepper. And it sounds like a really cheap, easy meal, and that's exactly what it is. It was discovered here years ago, I think during the Roman Empire, and it was just a fast way that they can make a lot of food for a lot of people with a little bit of ingredients. Welcome to our final day here in Nice.
So last night we did a little surprise for Aleesha, which will be in a separate video, so be sure to check that one out.
Which resulted in this. So I guess I came to Nice as a girlfriend, leaving as a fiance, and I was under the impression we were just filming our very cool experience for this travel vlog, but apparently it turned something entirely different.
So for our last day, it's a little chillier, in case you haven't noticed. We're wearing coats today, so the sun's not out, despite the fact Nice gets 300 days of sun a year, but apparently we missed one of those days.
Honestly though, we're really lucky because we're leaving tomorrow morning really early, and as of tomorrow it's supposed to rain for like the rest of the week.
Yeah, so I guess we dodged a bullet in that respect.
Okay, so let's get going to our next stop. We are heading to a museum.
Yeah, so it's called the Massena Museum, and basically it has a bunch of kind of artifacts and art from this region of France. So, I mean, Nice itself doesn't have a ton of must-see sites like a place like Paris, for example, where you've got like the Louvre and the Eiffel Tower and stuff like that. Honestly, the best part of Nice has really just been like wandering around and admiring the city.
And you get a million different views from all the different places, all gorgeous. So kind of cool that we're going to actually do a touristy building and museum thing. I love seeing museums, so should be pretty good.
Yeah, so let's go check it out. The museum was the former home of the Massena family before being sold to the local government in 1919 with the condition that it be converted into a museum. It houses many unique pieces, including a section dedicated to Napoleon with artifacts such as his death mask. Entry is 10 euros each, or you can buy a multi-day ticket for 15 euros, which includes access to other museums in Nice. Alright guys, so we have made it up to the, I think it's like the old castle hill. There's not much of a castle up here anymore, but it's just a great lookout point of the city.
And call us lazy or strategic, but we realized that there was an elevator, so obviously we took that. There was barely a line, and it got us up here really quick. And that way we didn't have to hike ourselves up those stairs.
Yeah, there is a set of stairs if you want to do it, but it looks like quite the hike, and we just weren't feeling it today, so lift it was.
But I'm glad we're up here because, once again, it's another just gorgeous view of the city, and I think that's the nice thing about Nice, is that everywhere we've been is just insanely gorgeous.
If I will ever figure out where the road goes.
We've been walking around up here trying to find what is supposed to be this magnificent waterfall.
And we found this like little teeny tiny waterfall while we were walking along, and we did like a little bit of a roundabout way.
We found some I don't know, kind of construction. Sean kind of like took a peek without going into the restricted area. It looks like it's supposed to be the waterfall, but it's not waterfalling.
Appears they have it turned off for construction, I guess.
Can you turn off a waterfall? Either way, the waterfall is not here, which is disappointing.
Yeah, so we just get to enjoy the teeny tiny waterfall today. The weather wasn't the best this afternoon, so after grabbing a slice of pizza for lunch, we headed back to the hostel for an afternoon nap before heading out for dinner to a local Lebanese restaurant, which was excellent and well off the tourist trail. Alright guys, so we have come back to the Place Massena, which is basically the main square here in Nice, and you'll probably notice behind me there's a bunch of these like statues that are all up on pedestals and stuff like that, and the artist meant for these to represent the 7 continents. They change colors every now and then, but the idea behind it is that whenever world peace is finally achieved, all of these statues will light up in the same color. Obviously with the current global climate, that's not going to happen anytime soon, but fingers crossed one day these will all light up the same color.
So we're wrapping up our time in Nice in front of Apollo and his appropriately sized aubergine.
We hope you guys enjoyed coming along with us. We got to do a lot of things that I don't think we expected on this trip.
And unfortunately that meant a lot of things we did plan didn't exactly go as planned, and unfortunately we didn't get to do them, so I guess we'll have to come back to Nice.
Yeah, honestly, worst things that you could have to do. Thank you again guys so much for watching. Please be sure to check out our video from Monaco as well as our special video here for Aleesha when those come out.
And thanks for joining us for what has been obviously a trip that we'll remember forever.
Bye guys.
Oh, we are all